Huey, Dewey, and Louie. No. Their names were supposed to be Jet, Turbo, and Rebel.
I could have been Turbo?
I told Donald. I wrote it down in case no one could understand him.
I could have been Turbo!
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama. Welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and our World of Paws segment.
I've done these a little while.
No.
Today we're covering something that has been a rather controversial topic for Disney's newest film, Wish, and the story. Most people really didn't like the movie.
And they wished for another outcome. So Wish released in theaters back in November of 2023 and is the big film to celebrate Disney's 100-year anniversary. Now before that they released an art book showcasing the development of the movie. After Wish turned out to be massively underwhelming for a long-time Disney fans, many agreed that the original idea and concepts and the art and the storyboards and the original singers and the original songs were way better than the final product.
Yes. And before we start with that, be sure to like, subscribe, click the notification button, future podcasts, and World of Paws videos.
Yes, and thank you for watching and subscribing. Really appreciate you. And we want you to chime in below. Give us your comments. We want to hear how you really feel, whether you agree or disagree or you're neutral. Tell us what you think.
Right.
Don't be afraid to speak.
Right. So we really were going to give this movie a fair chance. At the time of this recording, the movies come out on digital, but not DVD. They're really holding off on that. I can imagine why. And we've seen probably almost the entire first act of the movie thanks to previews and sneak peeks. And far as we know, it's just sort of okay. It's just okay. I figured, okay, maybe it'll get better as it goes on. So a really slow start. And wanted to give it a fair shot. And then...
So what we're going to do is be a little bit positive first and talk about the voice cast. Ariana DeBose is Asha. Not familiar with her. Chris Pine is King Magnifico. And in everything else we've seen him in, just about except for Dungeons and Dragons, we love his work.
Right.
Alan Tudyk as Valentino, and of course, we know him from Star vs. Force of Evil and millions of other roles.
Right.
He's an exceptional voice actor. Angelique Cabral is Queen Amaya. We're not familiar with her. Victor Garber as Sabino. And of course, we know him from being half of Firestone on the CW show.
Legends of Tomorrow.
And also from the Cinderella with Whitney Houston.
Yes.
And also he was on Alias and some other shows, so we're familiar with him. Harry, I'm just going to read the rest now. Harvey Guillen, Nico Vargas, Evan Peters, Rami Rousseff, John Rudnitsky, Della Saba, and Evan Peters.
Oh, that's right. I also got Perito in here as the voice actor, too.
And Keone Young as the mountain climber. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the voice actors.
Yeah,
because
they were fine.
This is nothing against them. A movie or a series or whatever it is you're producing can be only good as the writing, as the script, and as the content they're given to perform.
Right.
And the problem is what they had before the re-edit, starting all over.
Yeah.
The content, the songs, the script, the concept, everything was perfect.
Yes, really. It was.
Let's move on to the real story.
Okay. So at the time, we had no idea about this. And I came across this on X/Twitter. And a YouTuber, well, actually, they're on X and on Tumblr. I don't know about YouTube. Called Animation. It's a little bit of a pun name. And she posted about the concept art from the art book that came out for the movie. And at first people were like, oh, really excited to see this. And they saw it. And then when they saw the movie, it was like, this is nothing, almost nothing from the concept art. But then they actually go back to the book, and I guess they wanted to wait till after so no spoilers. And then they start reading the concept art, and it's literally 200 pages. One half of the book was the first movie they did. Then the second half of the book is the final movie they did.
It came out in theater.
Right. And then people look at the first half, and they're like, something's missing from this movie. Even the ones that like this, there was kind of something missing, something off. You had people that really enjoyed it, but most people just felt underwhelmed or it was just not good.
And you know what's hilarious? Disney says they're all about magic. Well, magic was missing from the movie.
And then they say, the people were really cooking with the script and everything. And they said, we almost had this, but then they went and did something else entirely. So then this got so much attention. There started being news articles how people were so shocked how people were loving all the concept art but didn't like the movie. And the concept art had an entirely different story. Mm-hmm. The movie story is that Asha's supposed to be apprenticed to King Magnifico. They're in the Kingdom of Rosas, and she finds out that he's been taking the wishes and won't grant them certain ones. And he has his reasons, and they're actually plausible, but you gotta wait for the podcast for that. But it seems like he's supposed to be seen in a light where he's being unfair and cruel, even though he kind of isn't. And of course upsets Asha, so she goes out and makes a wish to, I guess, grant everyone's wishes, wait for things to be better, and then the star comes down as a little marketable plushie that says nothing, and it's supposed to help her defeat the king. It's a little odd. It's not like, okay, that could be something, but it really doesn't do much. And then you get to the concept art, and the original storyline was that they still had the thing about the king, but in the original, the king and queen were gonna be bad guys together. They're making the first villain couple in Disney. They usually have one and not the other. They had a little sinister-looking cat as the little animal, and it was both of them, and they were not good rulers, and it was more known in the kingdom.
But they needed to simplify.
Right. So then they changed it.
Got rid of her being a villain.
Yeah, like, oh no, she's a good guy. Why? It was like, they never done that before.
If this man has been taking the wishes and sealing them in orbs and holding them prisoner and only granting the completion of one wish a year, this cow knew about it.
Right, and it's like,
so
she didn't know.
How would she be non-complicit?
Right.
She knew.
Right, and the way they had it, she was in line with him and they were both evil. So I was like, why didn't you go with that? That actually would have been different to have two villains instead of just one evil king.
So she was a villain behind the scenes because, again, there's no way she didn't know that he had all these wishes and what he was doing.
Right.
If he was granting one wish a year, then she knew he had to have them somewhere.
Right.
She knew he had to get them from somewhere. So already right there, they're screwed.
Right. Then the second thing would be how Rosas and Asha looked. It was taking one region from North Africa and I believe the Peninsula, and then they decided to just make it majority Spain. And they wanted to have an Afro-Latina princess, and they kind of, sort of changed it.
She's not a princess.
No, she's not a princess at all, because there was one thing that she was probably going to be the king and queen's daughter, whether blood-related or adopted. That actually would have been a pretty interesting conflict, because they hadn't done anything like that.
Simplify.
And then the biggest one of all that really set people off was the fact that...
resistance.
Right. Is the star itself was something else... Yes, something else entirely different. We see it's a little silent, supposedly adorable little ball, supposed to be representing the ball of animation, and it's like, I showed this to Mom on what it was, and she said, okay, Mom, this is supposed to be the most cute thing ever. It's adorable, according to Disney. Do you think it's cute?
No.
I was like, actually, she hated it. So.
It looks like it was in a fight on Demon Slayer, and it's got the stitch over the eye.
And the plushie,
and Rascal says it's supposed to be
a winky sparkle.
No,
yeah.
It looks like the eye was stitched up because it got in a fight with the demon and it got hurt. It doesn't even look right.
You're right.
And they want people to pay $18 for this thing.
For shipping and handling. Right.
And for those of you out there who have bought it, and you like it, that's fine. But if you want someone to pay $18 for something, it's got to be more than a circle ball.
At least, right.
It's got to be more than that.
At least add some more stuff to the toy, like extra things.
And if it was supposed to look like a wink, because we understand that, then all you had to do was make a half moon.
Yeah.
So it looks like an eyelid. Why is there an X?
Right.
It looks like the eye got punched out.
Right? And people,
Sounds like someone who was designing it got angry.
I I guess so. I'll show you. And in the original version, well, I'm sorry, for what we see for here, it's a mute little plushie because all it is doesn't even look like a star. It looks like a ball. It looks like nothing. It says nothing. There's no grasp on the powers that it has. And it just seemed like it was just there to look cute and be good for the kids, even though there's been reports the kids kind of tuned out some of the movie during the
underestimate your audience.
Right. So then we find out originally Star was they dubbed it a Star Boy. It originally looked like a human. It's on the way to achieving the final design. Star underwent 4 developmental phases. In phase 1, Star assumed various human forms.
Shapeshifter.
Right. And in phase 2, Star became an ethereal and magical shapeshifter. And in phase 3, Star descending to Earth as young representation of Asta's beloved grandfather, Sabino, who passed away before a version of the story. However, it looks like they had other designs, so they didn't really stick with, like, they had more of the personality, but not the face, in case that weirded people out.
Simplify.
Right. And then that was the one they were going with for the movie. And then, all of a sudden, it was pushed back, and then they did the final version, which was really the one they wanted to change altogether. In the final iteration, Star becomes the irrepressible life force, which is the little ball of sunshine you see, and the embodiment of pure joy, light, positivity, inspiration, except it's none of that.
It's the embodiment of laziness.
And then, when you see the art, and people were like, you're telling me he was going to be human looking? Because something seemed off with Asha just being kind of by herself and having the goat talk. And the Star say nothing. It just didn't seem right. It seemed like they were kind of forcing something in. It turns out that was the case.
And
Star was its own character.
And about now, you should be seeing some of the fan art Rascal found. Absolutely wonderful fan art.
Yes.
That's been made by people. The original concept should be showing, and then the fan art.
Yes.
And it's like, if this was the movie, oh my God.
Right. And people were like, we could have had a Star Boy. You could have had a evil villain power couple for Disney. It could have been all 2D animated. It was going to have some bangers. Sound like that was really the Disney Celebration movie.
And he was supposed to be the quirky one, not
right,
her.
Right. She was more.
Gotten the last 4 movies.
Right. And people were like, okay, we're kind of tired of seeing this. We've seen it enough. Please do something else aside from Rhea Rhea, as you like to call him, the Last Dragon. Yeah, she was supposed to be a little more reserved, slightly more shy, and then he was really outgoing, expressive, and everything according to what they show in the artwork. And then, top it all off, though people claim it's, or Disney claims it's not like that, there's a song called At All Costs they sing in the movie. When you
should be hearing a little part of it. Now, probably 10 seconds all we can play without getting in trouble.
Right.
But you can go online and hear it.
Right. And it's sung by Asha and Magnifico, and they're talking about the wishes in there and promising to protect them. But the song sounds really off because it sounds like a love song. And it's weird because Magnifico was married and an adult, and Asha's singing to some orbs, and they're singing to orbs like, it's supposed to be ambiguous, where it could be sent to anything you care about, but then we hear the demo.
And I remember when you first showed it to me, and you were showing me the videos on YouTube, you said, okay, I'm going to show you this and this and that. I'm not going to explain anything.
Yeah.
Just listen to the lyrics. And I listened, and it was the original, and then I heard the version.
The edit version.
Right. Yeah. And then I heard the movie, and I'm like, why would she be trying to find her want to be with her one true wish?
In another song.
And no one in the history of the world has ever uttered those words. And then why would she be singing to a freaking orb?
Right.
It doesn't make sense when you think about, if you just really think about the actions that are happening in this movie,
right.
they don't line up with anything.
Right.
It's just like,
if you think about it,
we don't want this to be a love story. So this is what we're going to do. Simplify.
They changed one lyric.
They changed the lyric, and then they changed other things within it, including making Starboy, because that's what I'm going to call him, into a ball with a punched out eye
and the simplified face.
Yes, why would you do that? And then you see the guy who thought this was a good idea, and all I've been saying all week is simplify.
Right. And what was terrible is that from the way they make it sound like in the interview, like, oh, this was always meant for this. But she also, Julia Michaels, one of the songwriters, wanted a love song, but they're trying to say, like, oh, no, this was always meant for this. But
and they said, oh, we're going to have it play plated weddings. Well, if you're gonna have a friendship song at a wedding, that's stupid. But if you're gonna have a romantic song, which is what this sounded like, and before you change promise to love to promise, it would have been perfect for weddings. You can't tell me that this was not meant to be a love song. I know she wrote it. And it then sounds like in the same sentence or in the same paragraph, it's meant to be played at weddings. It can't be a friendship song at a wedding.
And it's like Disney didn't want that, so they changed the lyric because she really wanted to write a love song. This was one of her biggest things she wanted to do.
And she did. And she literally wrote a beautiful song.
And when they have the demo, it's her and Benjamin Rice, who were the two songwriters in charge. People were saying the music doesn't really fit with the movie. I think this was meant to have a whole different soundtrack or have multiple different writers involved to have different types of songs. So I was like, okay, Ma, you need to hear the demo. Because I heard it one time with a fan animatic and ended up crying, which never happens when I listen to songs. So I was like, Ma, you need to listen to this. So you can see you can't tell me this wasn't meant for the original storyline. And then Ma heard it and you said, why the heck did you change it? The whole atmosphere of the song was different from what they had in the final movie.
And why didn't you let the original singer sing it? You've made plenty of movies, Disney, where you have VAs who voice the characters and then singers who do the actual singing. They were perfect. The song was beautiful. Why in the heck, no offense to Chris Pine because he can sing, but the point is the chemistry between the two singers in the original was lost when he and DuBose sang it. It just wasn't there. And I think part of it is because the writers and they had captured what they were feeling and what was meant to come across in their voices and it translated in the song. And there's nothing wrong with that. There would have been nothing wrong with the two of them voicing the characters and these two singing the song.
Perfectly fine.
Simplify.
Right. And it brings the biggest one, which some people say, oh, it's not there, you can't tell. Well, if I'm hearing a song that sounds romantic, I'm seeing that you originally planned for the star to look human and become a teenage boy like her, and they have an adventure together, and you haven't done this in years, what else am I supposed to get? Because it looked like they were going to have them fall in love, and they decided, no. We're just going to simplify him down to the character being nothing. And people adored this concept. They adored the song. When they saw the design, I don't know, there's something about the design of the character that immediately made people smile. When you get to this little star ball they have, they want you to think adorable, you just kind of just sit there like, what is that?
Now, if you had seen the ball or the star originally as it was perceived, or conceived, I should say, and then it shape-shifted into Starboy, that would have been cute.
Yes!
Because you're like, oh, he wanted to look like the one he fell in love with. Oh my gosh!
Yes, that's what
that would have been perfect.
Yeah!
No, it's like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah,
and having that here. And we've seen a lot online about people stating that since Frozen, Disney hasn't wanted romance in their movies.
There hasn't been one since that film. They hinted at a bit in Rhea Raya, but they never really had another Disney couple since then. They all the leading females have been by themselves, and a quote from Disney is that they believe that if the female protagonist has a love interest, that will make her weaker.
Well, can they stop believing and listen to what the people are telling them they want, and then give us what we want? It's so simple. And hear critique, listen to critique, consider options to fulfill critique, fulfill it. That's it. It's so simple.
And that was it.
And this was their win. This was their knocked it out of the ballpark win. This was Disney is back.
To me, it was like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That's the whole vibe I was getting, looking at the concept and the story. It was unique. That's what I felt like the movie was going to be, and it could tell it was inspired by it.
Now, quickly, I want to interject in case you're listening, you're going, hey, that's not the truth. People really loved it. Well, there was a budget of between 175 to 200 million. It has grossed to date 233 million, but the 33 came long after it was released. Just in case you're wondering, and I want to give this to you right because we always like to give you the information. As of January 23rd, Wish grossed 63.4 million in the U.S. and Canada, and another 170 million in other territories for a total of 233.6 million. but that's not how it came out when it originally was released.
Right.
It was released alongside Napoleon and Saltburn in the U.S. and Canada, and it was projected to gross between 45 and 50 million from the 3,900 theaters it was released in over a 5-day Thanksgiving opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading this because I want it to be factual, and you hear it, and if you want to go ahead and research it online, that's fine too. The film only made 8.3 million on its first day, including 2.3 million from Tuesday night previews. After Thanksgiving Day, 3.9 million, and Black Friday, 8 million. Projections were lowered to 32 million. And it went on to debut to 19.5 million with a total of 31.7 million over 5 days, finishing behind the Hunger Games release and Napoleon.
Yeah.
And Variety claimed that the low opening was due to a lack of social media marketing and divided word of mouth, but suggested the film could leg it out as Pixar's Elemental did. Well, guess what? It finished 5th in the next 2 weeks, grossing only an additional 7.4 million in its second weekend, and the third weekend 5.3 million, and it got just
lower and lower.
Everyone just wrote it off.
Yeah, and
so
then
it's not because we're hating on it. It's not because we just want to talk bad about Disney. It's not because we wouldn't have been satisfied out of the way. You're incorrect. We're going to let you know that factually. It didn't do well because people saw something wrong with the finished product. As Rascal said, there's something missing. It's missing heart. And the magic it was supposed to be reflecting in the movie, well, this is about magic and this movie's supposed to show that. It doesn't show that.
No.
It shows like a whole bunch of concepts thrown together to cover up the original because simplify.
Right.
We can't have romance, and we sure can't have romance between the two characters that they created.
Right.
So,
what?
So this is what is wrong with Wish. Disclaimer. If you love Wish, we're really happy. We're happy for you. We're glad you found something in it to love sincerely. But from what we've seen, I would have preferred the concept.
Yeah, the concept of it to me was like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, where it's like far exceed expectations, and really the concept does exceed expectations. And they were trying to come up with excuses of why they didn't want to go with a lot of these things, even though the whole movie was pretty much done being storyboarded and planned out. They wanted to change Star. It was like, oh, the thing is not working for us, him having a voice and everything and being human.
Old men.
Oh, and the thing was, they said, okay, he's gonna be a little too similar to Genie. But here's the thing, one, you know we got a bunch of shapeshifters out here. You got Nimona, you got Beast Boy, you got the Monkey King, you got Monkey Kid, you got all these shapeshifters.
Well, they would know that since they don't watch anything.
Right, and then on top of it, and they said, oh, he's a little too powerful, and Ash will be able to shine. Well, you proved it wrong with the deleted scene.
2, we went the same route as Artemis Fowl because, you know, kids couldn't understand the concept of a 12-year-old criminal mastermind, but the book sold like crazy.
Right, and it was supposed to be a combination of Peter Pan and the Genie, and other people got bits of Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians. I got a little bit of Puss in Boots. You got a combination of all of these really wonderful characters in one.
And I kept saying that original concept would have been like Romantic Killer that released on Netflix,
right?
Where it was a similar situation. She had the magic being who was trying to help her find a boyfriend, and the magic being fell in love with her, and made itself human. And just to make sure that there was a version of it she liked, he made himself first Rio as a girl, and then Riri as a boy, and told her he was in love with her, and whichever one you like most, I'll be. And that's what this movie was gonna be.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, because if they had kept the shapeshifter thing like they had, like you said, and they could sell toys still, have the little ball start first, and then have the human form, and then the animal forms and all that, he would have multiple ones. That would have been perfect. Like, hey, here's your toys, like Pokemon, all the different forms, the dolls, the plush. That would have definitely sold. And the way in here, when they had the different designs for the outfits, I kind of like the one where it's the black and gold costume. And I laughed because I said,
you know which one I like.
Right, and
with the superhero kid.
Right, and I laughed because it was like, to me, like, okay, so you mean to tell me in this version, like, he comes down as one thing, and then he sees Sarah and he decides to glow himself up and make himself look cooler.
Yes.
I thought that was hilarious.
And a cape with superhero
Yeah, he gets a little cape and stuff, look like a prince, so he look cool.
Now, you know how much we really love the concept art, guys? If you haven't noticed, we've made a new banner. And the concept art is in
the
our
banner, yes.
We loved it that much.
Yes.
So we're telling you, they missed the boat, they dropped the ball, all the other soliloquisms and euphemisms and anything you can bring up. They screwed up royally.
And then one extra thing from one of the writers is that when Star was a shapeshifter and Star could talk, we kept asking ourselves, how is Star different from the genie in Aladdin? Once Star became a mime character, it was brain breaking and so liberating. So there was a version where he talked and one where he probably didn't talk. Now Star and Ash have an emotional journey. They are soulmates. And do not tell me there's platonic soulmates, because that just doesn't work. Every time they try that, it never works and ends up being romantic. So yes, they're implying there were going to be a ship in this movie because he took the human form and wanted to stay like that.
Now, when you finish that, we're going to get to the villain song.
Oh, yes.
But this movie could have been just something beautiful and wonderful. My favorite, hopefully you've seen on screen, is with him all yellow or golden
in the
cape.
black, in the black one.
They're so adorable. He's adorable. She's adorable. They're an adorable little
that was
couple.
more adorable than
I'm not calling them a ship. They're a couple in my mind. They were already together and they're so adorable.
Right.
And I absolutely love the idea that this was what it was meant to be. Quickly, you got to talk about it, and Rascal found a deleted scene online and showed it to me. It averaged about 2 minutes.
Yeah, without the introduction from one of the heads of story, yes.
And you said, I want you to watch this and tell me what you think. So you go ahead and tell me.
Right. So they had one scene from when it was getting close to the end of the film. And they were claiming it was changing Magnifico because, he wasn't threatening enough in the movie, so we changed it so he'd be more sinister. And while the original version of the movie, Magnifico was straight up evil, and it was pretty obvious. And in that version of the movie, he took the wishes. You didn't really have an explanation why he only granted certain wishes. He was keeping them all there. Well, in the original movie, he was keeping the wishes because he was gaining power. He was eating the wishes and absorbing people's life force. Because when he started taking them, people were passing out from exhaustion, like part of their life was taken away. And he was growing and growing in power, so it was literally damaging people's lives to the point where he became this giant monster. So they had an explanation why he was only granting certain wishes. He was making himself all powerful. And they decided, that wasn't threatening enough. It's like he's taking people's quintessence, souls away practically, and that wasn't threatening.
I was actually talking about the one.
Yes, that one too.
You posted that has gone crazy.
Yes, that one.
I love that. But
okay.
Now that you've gone to the villain, let's go ahead and go to the other part of that, and then go backwards.
Right.
The villain song, and it's just
this
weak.
is the things I would
it's
get.
Just bad. It's just weak. It's not a villain song, and Rascal always says the villain song is always the best song.
Usually, yes.
Not in this instance. It's like what happened is weak.
It sounds like a tropical song.
The worst lyric in it is,
I let you live here for free, and I don't even charge you rent. That's the same thing.
They were desperately searching for lyrics for the song.
Like it's AI doing
and then online, other people started putting up songs with the footage so that you could hear what a real villain song sounds like. That would have been great, and see it over the actual footage. So, what's the name of the movie with Antonio Banderas?
Journey to Bethlehem.
I'm sorry.
I think so. Yeah, Journey to Bethlehem. Antonio Banderas plays King Herod, and he actually has a villain number. It's like a musical biblical movie, kind of like Prince of Egypt and Joseph. And Antonio Banderas really just floored everybody with his singing talent and made people think like, this is a great villain king song. So someone made an animatic where it was Magnifico versus Asha and Starboy, and they used the first minute or two from the song, and they lined it up with an animatic like, what if he sang it? And it fit way better to portray he's supposed to be a villain. And it's like, why wasn't either you done a cover of this or done something in the vein of it?
And coming up right about this time, you'll be seeing the one that Rascal made.
Yeah.
So you can have an idea of how good it sounded.
Right. And it's like, man, none are missed
How
out.
can all these people online, on Twix and YouTube come up with better representations of what a villain song is, making it truly maniacal,
Right.
and someone who's really narcissistic and obsessed with being powerful and control. All these other people did it better than Disney.
Yes.
A $1 trillion company.
Yeah. And it's
And
like,
it's
you
not
can't
because
believe
they
this.
couldn't. It's because they wouldn't and didn't want to. Simplify.
Play it safe. Play it safe. Stick with all the old tropes that have been failing, pretty much.
So now let's get to the clip that you showed me that was a deleted scene.
From the original movie.
And
Yes.
oh my gosh, it's wonderful. And you're going to see a little bit of that coming up now
Right.
as well.
And this one was called Terosas, and this is from the original story animatic of the movie where Star was still the shapeshifter and could speak. So we actually got to see Starboy sort of animated. And they're going to Rosas, and they're stopped by the Queen, who was still the villain in here, as well as Magnifico, and they had their maniacal little cat, which you just loved. And what was hilarious is that when they had Asha and the Star in the final film, the Star kind of does nothing. She kind of does a little majority of the work, and it's just a simple chasing. In here, they were worried about her not having enough of the spotlight or doing enough of the work. You know, she kind of did. In the deleted scene, they showed her and Star talking. Valentino didn't talk at all, so I guess the voice went to him. And it was Asha and the Star, and he had shapeshifted into a horse, so I guess a reference to Tangled. And what was hilarious about this, he said, this doesn't work with the final scene. Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. But then we get to the deleted scene, and the guy said it wasn't really working. Oh, so and so. And then within 2 seconds of them talking and interacting, it was just like, I don't know what it was. It just clicked.
It was magic.
Yeah,
The
it's
magic
like,
thing we're missing from the movie.
yes, and it was just like, I love this. As soon as they started talking to each other, it just flowed. It worked. Star sounded exactly you thought he would. He sounded like he was full of energy.
And then you showed it to me, which I hadn't seen it at that point.
Yeah.
And what did I tell you as soon as I finished?
He said, why wasn't this the final movie?
I enjoy watching that 2 minutes of storyboarded
Animatic, yeah.
animatic more than anything else I've seen for this movie.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
Oh, Lord.
We're not critical. If you listen to a lot of our podcasts, we like to be fair. We like to be open-minded. We like to give things a chance. And all the things that were cut out were better than the movie they finished.
And people kept saying
And
that.
how do you do that? It's like Disney has a gift now for doing the opposite of what people are asking for.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they continue to do the same thing. They don't listen to what the fans want. They don't care what it is we're asking for. They keep giving us, it's like, we don't give you what you want. We give you what we think you need.
Right.
This is our agenda. This is what we're pushing. This is what we want you to like. 1, because it's cheaper for us. 2, because we're lazy. 3, because we want to follow a formula that we've created. 4, we don't want to do what Walt Disney did.
We want
Or
to.
Roy Disney did. We want to make something that is not palatable for 90% of the population.
Oh,
and we want you to like it and pay for it and love it. And
Right.
until you do that, we're just going to keep making these movies that you keep telling us are bad by not going to the box office and paying the
Right.
tickets.
Oh, and don't
People
forget.
would think after Strange World they would have listened.
Right, and you were thinking this was the comeback movie, and it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, start all over 3 to 4 months before it's time for the movie to come out, and just rush everything.
And just destroy that foundation and groundwork that would have worked perfectly.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like they built a house. You know what? I don't like the view I'm getting from this house.
Yeah.
Tear it down, start over.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh my gosh. And I know people thinking, oh, there were ones who, in defense of the movie, say, if you had gotten this concept art version of the movie and they finished it, you would have still complained about something.
But you can't say that for 2 reasons. I don't know what yours is, but mine is We didn't know about it until they released it.
Right.
If they had never released the deleted scenes, if
Yeah,
they never
we didn't
told
know.
us what we were missing, then we couldn't have missed it.
Right.
Then all you would have said is, well, that movie was okay. It didn't really have heart. Something was missing, and you would have moved on.
Right.
But they show us what we didn't get, and
Yeah.
it's their fault.
Yeah,
Because if
exactly.
they hadn't shown us what we didn't get, then we would have never known.
Right.
And we couldn't have said anything.
The art book, right, and the deleted scene.
Yes.
We were under the impression that they never got past this point of the
Right.
story. Okay, they went from this concept art, it never came to be, they went with the star ball. Okay, no, they did that movie and didn't animate it. And that was the part that just kind of broke the camel's back with people like, you had something great. And with the deleted scene, people were like, this was fun. It was 2 to 3 minutes and it was fun. And like I said, it was just something with this version of Star and Asha. You were just engaged in the conversation. They worked well off each other perfectly.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't the stars you had in the final film, it was just something about it that just worked.
And then here's a question. Why weren't they? You had Chris Pine, who was the biggest star in here.
Right.
Chris Pine. He can definitely hold a movie. He can carry a movie. He has proven that he's got the box office draw. We've seen I think every movie Chris Pine has been in.
Just about, yeah.
We know we're not the only ones. So they didn't need the other people. Why did they not go with the two people who were voicing Asha and Star in the deleted scenes? Nothing against Ariana DeBose.
Right.
I don't know her. I'm not familiar with her. And there's nothing against her. But when you hear, as you said, you hear the chemistry and you hear how well it worked, it's like they weren't listening. It's like they were hearing what was going on, but because it's what they didn't want, they scrapped it. You had your magic. You had two people voicing these characters that absolutely positively would have delivered what you claimed you were trying to deliver. The magic of Disney. You had Chris Pine as the big box office draw. And from what we've seen, he is magnificent as Magnifico.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with his performance. He's fantastic. He's the best part of what you actually did come up with.
Yeah.
But if you had the people who originally sang the original song, singing the song instead of the two of them with the original lyrics and the original movie, but Chris Pine still in it as Magnifico.
Yeah.
You and the other people still with their roles, you would have had a massive hit.
Yeah, it was like Brad Bird voicing Edna Mode, and you found out someone was supposed to voice her, and it's like, he did it so well, didn't even bother fixing it, and it paid off. If they had kept Starboy talking, kept the shapeshifter, kept all that, and kept the guy who was doing his voice, you would have been engrossed in this character. This is a character.
And one other dumb thing I want to bring up, because it's really dumb. We were watching one of these videos where they told why they made the goat talk. And it
Besides
was like,
Alan Tudyk being their draw, too.
And they were like, we were watching it, and the surprise was the goat had a deep voice. Well, that's happened a million times in other shows and movies. But their reasoning was, they didn't want Starboy to talk, and that's what we're going to call him from now on. Sorry. They didn't want Starboy to be in it or talk because the goat was going to be the draw. And
sell some
and
toys.
You have a plushie. And we're just sitting up staring at the screen while of all the dumb, asinine, reasons to come up as to why you made a freaking change. This is your rationale. I'm going to say it again. 1, simplify. You should have seen that clip by now. And 2, I'm sorry. I normally don't go here with age. But it's like these people who are making these decisions have forgotten what it's like to be young, or to be a child, or to enjoy life, or to like joy, or to like love, or to like romance. They don't want anything that reeks of happiness.
Yeah.
And they keep doing this in these movies.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And then another thing they deleted was the song at the end, which is from the version of the movie they did anyway. Oh, we cut out the song. Why? The song actually didn't sound bad.
And that clip should be here.
Yeah, but the grandfather got to sing the song supposed to inspire people in the vein of When You Wish Upon a Star. And to me, it sounded like we found out the ending of the original movie because we kind of assumed that the Starboy was going to want to stay on Earth. And in the end of this version of the movie, the final film, the star stayed.
He changed himself into a human to be with the girl he fell in love with.
And you hear the grandpa's song, it actually doesn't sound bad, but they cut out both versions of the film. Yeah. And it's a read out your one true wish. It's like, okay, so it was a metaphor for her being with him again, and it was just like, are you serious? And people who actually liked the final film are like, why was this part cut out? What was wrong with it? You already had pretty much finished the animation, and it just kept pissing people off. So it's just like, you know what? They just said, screw it. Just gonna keep the concept art.
If you really want to see a lot of comments pro and against the movie, you can go on to X or Twitter.
And
we're going to tell you, there's a lot fewer people defending it than defending
the way it looks,
finished product than defending the concept. And there's two things you can also do. One, Rascal made a post on her opinion that I hope she's bringing up now so you can see it.
Yeah.
And go to her Twitter page, and then you can see all the people who are making comments. I think so far there's been one who disagrees. But seeing the comments as to why they love the concept and why it worked for them and how disappointed they are they didn't get it. And you will see this. And two, just randomly go there and type in Wish.
Yeah, like a hashtag.
If you type in Wish and you type in comments, all the Disney stuff has been set up to come up first.
Right.
All the actual Wish stuff. You can't get to the comments unless you type in Starboy. And then there's only a few that comes up. Now, Twitter X, or Twix as we call it, has hundreds of millions and billions of posts. There's no way in heck that randomly every time you type in these keywords, only the Disney finished product comes up.
Right.
It's almost like they're trying to tell you, again, as we said earlier, this is what we want you to like.
Which is,
we're not going to allow you to see the concepts and the other opinions and the brilliant artwork people have made based on the concepts and the opinions. We don't want you to see that. We only want you to see what we want you to think. And that's the way it is on there. So go check it for yourself and you'll see.
Right. And then for me, I think my last comment will be the fact that they are trying to say like, oh no, this is great, and pretend like the concept doesn't work when all the comments about how much they adore the concept, all the fan art, the likes, the retweets, I love the original stuff. They love the villain couple. They love the actual couple. They love the song. Valentino didn't talk until the end of the movie. They had so many things in there that were what people want, especially having 2D animation completely or the hybrid thing. They absolutely loved that.
And I want to say quickly is the animation looks good. But we saw that it looked better when they showed us the concept art originally when it first came out.
Right.
They actually went cheaper on it. It looked absolutely gorgeous.
And fired animators.
And everyone was and everyone was excited for what was going to come out because you knew it was going to be visually stunning. And based on what you saw the description, hey, this is going to be a nice movie.
Yeah.
And then simplify, cheapen.
And into what we got. So, yeah, and to me, it's like if they're really, that was it. This was the comeback movie they could have had. And now there's been a push for like, okay, it's like release the Snyder Cut, release the original Wish now, because now we know it's done. It's not that it never got past the stage, it never got past the storyboard animatic part, and animating it. Now people are like, okay, just release that now. And then the people that like this final product of Wish can still love it and enjoy it and defend it. And the ones that want the original thing, you had two different versions, just like with Justice League, and like, okay, I love this, and you got that, and you could choose. That would even be great too.
So our last input on this is going to be the critical response. One of the nominations, Emmys, Oscars, so forth. Wish has gotten snubbed. That's big indication that they don't like the finished product. The songs didn't get nominated. The movie, I think, got nominated for one category. Not movie of the year, not animated movie of the year. None of the stars in the major roles got nominated. They were snubbed because it didn't have the magic. It was missing what made it special. And I know people can say, oh, well, they don't get it right all the time. That's true. But unfortunately, they got it right this time. This movie didn't have that magic that they kept talking about.
You're right.
And then lastly, as far as critical response written, I don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes because they haven't been getting things right. It seems like they're being paid off. But they actually gave it a 48% and a 5.7 out of 10. But if you go down to other people that you may want to pay more attention to, you got IndieWire, who praised it, for those of you who do like it. They praised it, saying that it serves as a throwback to the past, a celebration of the present, and a gentle push into the future. So that's nice. And then Brian Truitt of USA Today, gave it 3 out of 4 stars. It says it entertains and unabashedly owns being a safe peon to old school Disney, which peon isn't a positive word.
Right.
Then you get further down and you start seeing Empire and Cinema Blend and Arizona Public and The Wrap, and it stops being positive.
Yeah.
And it starts going down. Then you get to Michael O'Sullivan of the Washington Post, who gave it 2 out of 5 stars, saying what Wish feels like at times, not a movie made by filmmakers with an original vision,
Right.
but one assembled by focus group with
And
an
it
eye
was.
more on fan service than on fresh ideas.
And it was.
And then another one that really, The Hollywood Reporter said, even during its more successful moments, Wish's magic falls flat.
And
The film is weighed down by its purpose to revel in Disney nostalgia while soaring into the future.
Yep.
And
100-year anniversary for this.
And it says, the last I'm going to read is Amy Nicholson of the New York Times. She wrote that oddly and fascinatingly, not in a good way, this is a film about a spiritual revolution. Can Asha, a humanist,
Yeah.
convince the islanders to reject the man in the embroidered robe who preaches that he alone is a conduit for miracles? If that is your message for the movie, then you've lost. You've lost. If it's about magic, but that is the movie,
Yeah.
then
It's like you're rejecting the
concepts
magic.
don't line up, and therefore you failed, and you failed horribly.
Yeah.
So if you've seen Wish, or if you've seen the concept art, you've seen the trailer, you've seen the deleted scenes, you've seen anything on YouTube
Yeah, 'cause
or
there's tons.
Twix or Pinterest, anything you want to share and talk about, let us know in the comments below. But specifically, if you've seen the actual movie, tell us what you think. And again, we're not going to be critical of anyone. If you love the movie, fantastic.
Yeah.
Let us know
We've
about
been on that side of
what
the movies.
people are missing
Yeah.
that we should appreciate when we see it, and or rewatch it in some cases.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, it's available right now only digitally,
Right.
and it won't be out until
March.
as a physical copy.
Right. And my final comment is actually a quote
You
from...
mean your final
Yes,
AMC?
yes. Would be a quote from a Tumblr where it says, you know you screwed up when people are making fan art. There's a ton of fan art. They're not making fan art of the movie. They're making fan art for the concept art of the movie. And all the fan art, 99% of it is for all the concept art and the original idea. That doesn't show you what happened. I don't know what will.
So the big takeaway from here is we hope that Disney will listen this time, since they've refused to listen all the other times. And the next movie that they bank on and spend $200 million on will be something that the majority of fans actually wants. Take a cue from your 100-year celebration
But
short.
Once Upon a Studio.
You gave people what they wanted, and this is what we want. So if you just give us what we want, then you'll have all the money you want flowing into you. You'll have all the merchandising selling. You'll get exactly what you want. But if you keep giving people the opposite of what they're asking for, and in some cases begging for, you're going to keep getting snubbed at the awards. You're going to keep getting talked about negatively. You're going to keep getting bad reviews. And you're going to have people keep going to the concept art and wanting that more than what you give us.
And giving Nimona all the praise that you missed out on.
So if you haven't already,
be sure to subscribe for updates to Video's favorite anime series, anime shows, all things animation.
and thank you for joining us for this special World of Paws. We've been wanting to talk about this ever since Rascal started
obsessing over that
obsessing
OG.
over Wish. I heard about it every day, all day. I'm exaggerating about the all day.
Okay.
And posting on her Twitter page, and she got me so into it, and watching all these clips, it was like, how can you not love the concept art?
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your open opinions. And again, there's no bad opinions. We want to hear what you think, and let us know what you love about it if you do love it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following us on our social media accounts on Pinterest, Twitter, X, and Instagram.
Yes.
And most of all, thank you for just being family.
Yes, thank you so much.
Now, unlike Disney, we're going to tell you we love you.
Right.
And you're our ship. And watch if you have not seen the concept art and the concept videos and all
On the animatics and everything.
go ahead and give it a look and come back and let us know what you think.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching Masculine Entertainment.
Now, Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace. And don't try to reunite with your one special wish.
And reporters sitting flashing lights